today we are going to see how to produce a land use map starting from a figure ground using Adobe Illustrator. So first of all, let's go into Digimap. So we have to start from a figure ground map. So you already know how to produce a figure ground map because we saw from previous videos, but we can do a little bit of catch up. So starting from the website of Digimap, you have to log in first of all. So in this case, you have to choose UCL University College of London. And then, as you already know, we can go into Ordnance Survey and OS Digimap. So once you are here, what you can do is to search for your areas. So in my case, I want to produce a figure ground map and then land use map of Nine Elms area. So let's go here. Once you're here, what you have to do is to download an image that is a vector-based image. So an image that you can basically turn into like using Illustrator. So how to do this? You should go more in deep into the image until if you open these drop-down windows, you have to see the vector map district or at least the vector map local. So you have to zoom in until you see those two options. So otherwise, if you download a raster image, the image will not be editable. So in order to modify the image once you download it, you have to basically scroll down until you find this those two options. So this is the best one because you already have the buildings which are orange, kind of orangey color, so you can separate the buildings from other things. So once you are satisfied with the size of the area, what you can do is just to generate a file for printing. And I always suggest to stay a little bit generous in a way, so using an A3 instead of A4. So it means the scale will be the same, but the area will be larger. So once you're here, you just generate a print file. So once you generate the print file, you will see that the image, like you have the option to save the image into a folder into your laptop. So now we don't, like, I already have this image. So once you have the image, what you have to do, you can save it in any kind of folder into your laptop. And then something that I always recommend is to go to look for the image into the folder where you save it. So in my case, I save it into land use analysis. So this is the PDF. So it was this one. Okay. So once you open into Illustrator, what happened? It happened that basically if you have a Macintosh laptop, you can just drag and drop into the Illustrator icon. Otherwise, I always suggest to right click into, like, in the list of your file and open with, and then you choose Adobe Illustrator. Because otherwise, if you open Illustrator and then you open the map, in some cases, especially with Microsoft, it happened that the image is not editable. So always right click and do this kind of things. So now we have our image here. So we have the image inside Illustrator. What we have to do is to actually to produce a figure ground map. So this is something you already know how to do it. So you should basically right click and release clipping mask. So it might happen that you have also to ungroup before release, which is fine. So you ungroup everything and then you start doing the releasing phasing, let's say. So you have to release all the different masks you have. So in this case, let's see if it's feasible. So releasing clipping masks. So you start release everything, and at the end, your result is pretty much this one. So what I did here, I just released all the different elements. I removed everything and I separated. If you look in the layer list, I just separated the buildings from the river, from the railways, from the green areas. And then I just recolor everything. So I just color all the building. Those buildings were orange, and now those are blacks just because I colored them. So once we are in this situation, I went very quickly in the first phase because actually, like if you don't know how to create this kind, how to reach this point, so if you don't know how to create this kind of figure ground map, you can go back to see the previous videos, which is about how to create a figure ground map starting from a digimap plan into Illustrator. So once you are at this point, what to do? So we have to color buildings based on different land uses. So first of all, how to find land uses. So from my perspective, especially like starting from scratch, if you don't know actually where to find land uses, I would suggest to go into Google Maps. So if you type 9elms into maps, you will see that you can go using Street View, and you can go and see which kind of buildings are those. So I don't know, just go here. So of course it's not like super precise, but what you can do is to actually look around in the area, move inside the area, and look which kind of buildings are those. So of course those, like these buildings for example, is a residential building, so the use is residential. This building is a school, and so on. So what you can do, this is the very like basic way, and is also the easiest one. Otherwise, what you can do is to go and check for planning application of each building. But of course, if you have a large area, it will be quite difficult. So in my case, I always kind of move inside inside maps with open Street View. Or otherwise, you can also, in a way, find some data online. So you can search for some data online, but it's like looking for data about land uses is not that easy because most of the areas, they don't have any kind of maps. So let's imagine we already, like we know which are the uses of those spaces. So what to do now? First of all, I will create another layer, so a layer on top of everything, which I can call label. So in the label, first of all, I will, using the rectangular shape. So if you use this kind of rectangular tool, I would create a sort of label at the bottom, sorry, of your map. In this case, I want to recolor this label in order to have it white. So you can also click into this default fill and stroke, and you can also like remove the color of the stroke. So we just want this white. Okay. And then what we can do is also to basically lock at least the river, the railways, and the green areas, because we only want to change the color of the buildings. So now we have this kind of label, and we have to create the different layers that we want. So I would take the rectangular tool again, and start to create those kind of rectangular shapes that you can, if you double click on the fill here, you can recolors, I don't know, with different colors based on what you want to represent. Look, guys, this is like the same, not only for land uses, but you can use this for different things. So what we are doing now, we are kind of creating a sort of a key plan for then recolor the buildings based on the use. So I don't know, and then you can take the text tool and start typing, I don't know, residential. And you can keep doing the same with all the different uses. So you can, if you press Shift, you can select both of them, and then you can go into Edit, Copy, Edit, Paste in place, and then you just move what you just paste. You can recolor with the different colors, and you can call it, I don't know, offices, and so on. So now I already have a map which is kind of done in a way. So I already have labels here, so I can take the labels from here and just copy on the other ways, like on the other things, on the other drawing. So once we have the key, so the first thing is to produce a key. So here. So this is my key. It's exactly what I did. So I created different rectangular shapes with some text in order to have all the different situations I want to cover into this map. Here, guys, the thing is that I will always suggest to not, like, of course, you can color all the buildings here. You can check for all the buildings, but what is always useful is to define a specific area of your interest. So what you can also do, you can create a new layer, which you can call like boundary. If you have a specific area that you want to, let's say, cover. So here into the layer boundary, you can remove the colors of the fill. So you can put none here and recolor the stroke with a red line, for example. And then with the pen tool, you can easily create your own. Maybe sometimes you need to lock the building in this case, because otherwise it will be difficult. You can start create your own shapes, let's say, regarding your own boundary, regarding the area you want to find the land use. So now I do it a little bit random, but of course you can be more precise than me. So this may be my situation. So this may be the area I want. So once you close the area, you will see that now you have a continuous line. What you can do is to enlarge it a little bit, and then you can also open the stroke panel and just put the dash line. Sometimes you can also change the dashed, like this. So now you have this dash line, which is not super nice. Maybe you want those to be rounded. So once you select with a selection tool, then you take the direct selection tool and you will see those little dots will appear. So you can take one of those and just drag, and you will see that your corner will be rounded in a way. So once we have the selection area, we can start color our buildings. So how to do this? In this case, I always suggest to create a new layer on top of buildings, which I will call uses, for example, in this case, and just start like copy and paste the buildings you want to recolor. So for example, let's have a look. Those buildings, for example, let's assume I already know that those buildings are residential buildings. So you can go into buildings. Of course, you should unlock into buildings. If you keep pressing shift, you can select more than one building at the same time, or otherwise you can also drag a selection if you want to select more buildings. These things, guys, like this operation, like you will probably need to do this operation more than once, and maybe like several times, to be honest. So once you select some of the buildings, like it depends on you also, you can select more than those, but of course, remember just to go pieces by pieces. So what you can do, you are into buildings, you can edit with the selection on, edit, copy. Then you go into uses with the selection in the layer list, and then you go into edit, paste in place. So what happened? It happened like if you switch off buildings, you will see. So basically you just copy only those buildings. In this case, what you want to do, you want that all those buildings that you just selected are yellow, because you already, like, let's assume that those buildings are residential buildings. So what you can do is to, in my case, I only have those, otherwise you have to select all of those. Okay, so once you selected the buildings you just copy, you can take the eyedropper tool and like take the color you need. So in this case, residential, because we assume those are all residential buildings. And let's see. And then you can switch on the buildings again. So this technique is very useful, because then you are not erase the buildings at the back, but you always have the black buildings of the background, but then you put some colors on top. So at the end, like the situation, it will be pretty much this one. Okay, so this is a map I already produced for you in order to for this video to be not too long. So this is exactly the same. What I did, the different things I did. I added a sort of title. So with the type tool, I just take it, I drag a selection, and I start like land use map, and I start typing, and then from here on top you can change first of all the font, and then you can also change the dimension. You can open character, and you can change also the, like you can put bold, for example, and so on. So here you have all the tools you need for the type tool. In this case, I already have, so I'm gonna erase this one. So this map is exactly what I meant at the beginning. So you can color different things, different buildings, but just remember that at the back you always have the black ones. So if you look in the layer list, you have one layer which is building, which is all the black ones, and then you have one layer which is uses, which is on top of the layer building, which are just the uses. So you have to color one by one the buildings, but remember not to color them, but just copy and paste and then color it. So once you are in this situation, now it's very easy because you can easily change the layer buildings. So if you want those buildings not to be that black, because maybe, I don't know, you don't want those to be super visible, but you just want to have colors visible, so the uses, you can like click into this random things close to the layer buildings, and what you can do is to put a little bit of opacity. So let's put those, I don't know, 30% opacity, and just press enter. And then you will see that all the buildings will be like less visible. You can even put like 15, let's say. So all the background buildings are very, like, it's very light, and only the buildings with colors are like super visible. What happens if you want to change just one color? I don't know, you maybe want to change the color yellow because it's too yellow, or because you want just to change the color. What you can do is to click on this one, and then as we always do for changing the colors into the Digimap plan, you use this button here on top to select similar objects. So as you can see, all the yellow things will be selected, and you can just double click on the fill here and basically change the colors as you prefer. So you can put a little bit orangey and so on, and just okay. So you see, you have changed already the colors both in the map and also in the key. So this trick is always useful, because then also here you can produce a map which is like this, or instead you can also switch off the background buildings, and you can have on only the land use buildings of your map and so on. So in this case, you're not basically you're not impacting, or you're not affecting your existing maps or the existing context, but you always have the background image at the back, and you just overlay some uses. Then once you are here, the land use map is pretty much done. So what you can do is to file, you can export as a JPEG, or like here, you can choose JPEG and just print the artboard, or otherwise what you can do is to file, save as, and you can save as a PDF here, so you can change here. And once you save a PDF, basically what you can do, your like Adobe Illustrator will ask you to actually preserve Illustrator editing capabilities, and I would suggest to switch this on. So anytime you need to modify something, even if it's a PDF, if you open this into Illustrator, you will see that you have there is this potential of changing the layers. So you still have the layer list. So if we do something like this, and then you close it, then if you go back into your list and see, this is the image, like this is the map we just printed. So this is a standard PDF, but look, if you open it into Illustrator, you will have all the layers. So this is very important. And this is your land use map. So this is a very quick way to produce a land use map. Of course, the most difficult part here is to find the land uses, and but you can easily look at those using Google Maps, for example, or maybe finding planning applications, or even report and any kind of other documents that shows the land use of a specific site, of a specific area. Thank you.